Greetings, loved ones. Today we're going to talk about intimate partner abuse and why you should walk away before the abuse starts. To help get these messages out, please subscribe to our channel, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, hit that like button, and please share these messages with others. You never know. Just by doing so, you could save a life. If your partner makes you feel bad, it's not love. I discovered a great article from Psychology Today written by Dr. Suzanne Degues-White. Let's see what she has to say about intimate partner violence. Media attention to the abuse of women by their high-status partners brings much attention to an all too prevalent encounter between intimate partners. While movie theaters have been presenting a wide variety of treatments of this issue, from marital rape in Gone with the Wind to the gaslighting of Ingrid Bergman, the abuse of Blanche DuBois in A Streetcar Named Desire, Farrah Fawcett's Burning Bed, to Sleeping with the Enemy, and now an interesting new twist in 50 Shades of Grey. For over 3/4 of a century, violence and abuse between partners show little change in dynamics or consequences. Both men and women can be battered or batterers. And the message that intimate partner abuse transcends gender, ethnicity, race, socioeconomic status, age, occupation, sexual orientation, and any other demographic variable people might try to promote as sacred is increasingly communicated and accepted. What is growing more concerning is the evidence that our society is being desensitized to violence. There seems to be a cultural promotion of expressing violence or taking out your bad day on innocent others as a normal reaction to a bad day. Violence is not acceptable manner of coping when things don't go your way. Abuse of any type, emotional, physical, mental, sexual, intellectual, spiritual, is an incident that no one should have to expect or accept. However, in too many relationships, the onset of abuse becomes expected and accepted. In 1979, Lenore Walker determined that there were 3 predictable stages in the cycle of intimate partner violence and abuse. First, there's the tension building. This is when the abuser is getting frustrated in life and tension is building between the abuser and the victim. Of course, tensions build in any relationship. It is human nature to have disagreements, but in the abusive relationship, the tensions cannot be loved or empathized away. Secondly, there's the explosion and the battering. This is when the tension reaches its peak and violence or abuse erupts. Responsibility for the abuse belongs fully to the abuser. The victim is truly that, a victim of the relationship. Once the pattern of abuse has been learned by the victim or the grooming has been complete, the victim may recognize the explosion as the step that leads to the next phase, the honeymoon. Thus, getting the explosion over may be encouraged by the battered partner to move on into the third phase, which is the honeymoon phase. This third step in the cycle brings the batterer to a place of manipulative guilt and remorse. Apologies, promises of change, and explanations for the battering and abuse are communicated. Some batterers, most batterers, even blame and remind victims that the abuse wouldn't happen if the victim didn't ask for it. And victim self-esteem may be so damaged that they accept the lie as truth. Unfortunately, honeymoons do not last forever, and tension will again begin to build as the cycle recycles. The dynamics of abuse may take on different guises depending on the particulars of the individuals in the relationship, but it falls into a cycle of repetitive and increasingly cruel behaviors. The tendency to assert power through control of another merely communicates the lack of control an individual feels he or she has in their lives. Healthy people do not need to bolster their self-esteem by battering the significant people in their lives. Modeling by parents or others in a person's life might explain where they learned the violence, but it does not excuse the violence. According to statistics from loveisrespect.org, 25% of high school girls have been victims of physical or sexual abuse, and 70% of college students have been sexually coerced. In fact, young women between the ages of 16 and 24 are the most frequent targets of abuse. But when they stay silent and allow the abuse to continue, their batterers are given the message that abuse is okay and acceptable. There is a pattern to abuse. It starts out subtle as the victim is tested or groomed to accept abuse as part of the relationship dynamic. But it typically increases in intensity until the relationship is terminated by a partner walking out or the victim being put in the hospital or in the morgue. The first time a partner belittles you, makes you feel bad about yourself, forces you to do something against your will, or harms you, needs to be made the last time. When apologies, placing blame on you, and promises of change are quick to follow the abuser's actions, these should be the last red flags you need to walk away before you are caught up in a cycle and it becomes too late. You should never have to live in fear of someone who proclaims to love you. With 1 in 3 women experiencing domestic violence worldwide, the question is not if you'll encounter a victim of violence. The question before God is, what will you do when you do encounter them? You could be the person who saves a life. You are called, we are all called, to be champions for justice. Those who suffer violence need to know that those who love them and those who do not even know them will step out and reach out to them to give them the courage and the help they need to leave before it is too late. Please help us get these messages out. Please subscribe to our channel, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, hit that like button, and please share these messages with others, because you never know, just by doing so you could save a life. This series is dedicated in honor of Gabby Petito, a bright young woman whom the world has lost because of gender violence. Please check out the foundation her family has created in her honor at GabbyPetitoFoundation.org. If you are a victim of violence, listen to me and know this. You are valued, you are loved, you are intelligent, you are beautiful, and God does not want you to suffer violence. He wants you to live free from violence in peace and tranquility. There is a way out of violence. It is not your fault. Abuse is not love. If you are a victim of violence and or find yourself in a dangerous situation, call 911 for help. Tomorrow we're going to talk about the truth about abusers and what to do. Until then, God bless you.